Welcome back to the Hirewell Hot Corner, where sports and recruitment meet. Welcome to part two of our in-person HHC extravaganza here in Chicago. I am your host, Dan Patel, joined as always by my Iron Man co-host, Louie Marisi. Louie, great to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a long 2 minutes since we recorded the part one.
Absolutely. In part one, for those of you who may not have seen it, we discussed getting over the goal line, the Eagles' push strategy and how effective they are at getting short down, first down, and touchdown situations, and how that might look for getting candidates over the goal line for an interview, for an offer with a client, both from the candidate standpoint and the employer standpoint. Here in part two, we want to cover the same focus, but we want to look at it from a different side of our business here at Hirewell. So we want to look at getting over the goal line from a business development standpoint. Part of what we do on top of just recruiting for the clients we have is working on bringing in new clients to work for on a long-term basis as a talent partner. So we felt that it was very appropriate and take advantage of being here in person together to talk about what it looks like getting over the goal line with potential clients who then become clients for us in Hirewell.
Yeah, no, it's a great topic to kind of have a two-parter because there is a lot to cover. So talking about business development from the get-go, it's bringing in new clients, utilizing your internal network, maybe doing some cold outreach, grooming LinkedIn to see who's hiring and using that as a tool to potentially reach out. Once you bring them to the table, how do you close them and bring them on as clients? And I think one of the biggest parts of that is creating value. Why work with us? So I think we dive into some of the best practices on how to create that value and have it cater to what our clients are looking for.
And a lot of that, creating the value and showing off the value is overcoming obstacles, roadblocks, things that might have happened for them in the past before we even met any of these people as to why they might not be interested in working with a recruitment agency. So Louie and I both have experience bringing in new clients. Louie has done a lot more on the sales side than I have, so he is a seasoned vet, Iron Man, if you will, in this sort of thing. But let's talk about common hesitations that companies have. We talk to potential clients, companies on daily, weekly basis. We have open and honest conversations about what they might be looking for in terms of hiring, how we might be able to help them. But let's talk about some of those roadblocks. I would say the most common one I've seen is the money side of it.
Yeah, and not to say that working with a recruiter is cheap. It's not. You're paying someone to take a big chunk of time and effort off your plate. Now, it's with expertise. So I specifically work in the sales side. So, you're getting my experience, my understanding of sales and not just someone in general. So that's part of the reason the money comes in. But it's roughly, we face about 20% of the first year base salary is what the fees are to work with the recruiting firm for the most part. So I understand that there's an expense that comes with it. But again, from our side, it's about creating value to show you that money is worth it.
And we typically have what are called engagement fees and success fees. Engagement fee is that initial down payment, if you will, to start a new search with a new client for a role they're looking for. What that is most of the time, it is a down payment. It's a credit towards our success fee at the end. And it's just to make sure that, there's some skin in the game. This is our livelihood. This is the work we do. We're going to put our full effort in. We want to make sure that you're as invested in this recruitment process as we are. And so that small upfront down payment tends to help a lot in doing that.
Yeah, and to touch on something we were at with in part one, it's having that buy-in from the client and investing time in this process. We're going to do the legwork, we're going to do the sourcing, the initial screening, even coordinate interviews, all of that stuff. So when it comes to your end of it, it's showing up, giving us availability, giving us feedback. And again, it should be a smooth process, but it comes down to how much does it cost you and how you kind of value that.
I'm glad you touched on the process side because that's another big hurdle typically we see with our clients is they've probably had a previous poor experience with a staffing firm, with another agency. We're not in the business of naming names, but we know, I know in plenty of conversations, they've had poor experiences where they worked with an agency where they had a number of different people working with them. They didn't know who their contact was. They weren't seeing anybody face to face, and it was just inconsistent. So what do we do that's different?
I think pointing to the fact that we are specialists in what we do, it's not like you're going to get someone who does only marketing working on a technology role or someone who works in HR handling a sales role. We bring that expertise to the table. We do weekly check-ins with our clients. And we want to learn from you. You are the experts on your role on your company. And we want to be an extension of that. We want to represent your company in the best way possible, being knowledgeable. And we show that by buying in, having our intake calls, diving real far into these roles so we are fully comfortable explaining it. So you don't have to do that as much on your end. You are only seeing qualified candidates.
The one thing I like to highlight for any prospective clients I speak with is while there might be over 100 recruiters at our disposal, you have one dedicated account manager, one dedicated relationship that's your go-to person. If I'm your go-to person, now for my local clients in Cincinnati, if they have a problem where they want to meet, I'll go meet with them in person. That's what I prefer to do,
Yeah.
you in Chicago. But we also work virtually all throughout the country. And so being available for phone, email, video chat, we are the face of the organization for them. We're the consistent go-to person. It doesn't mean we don't have an army of experts behind us at all levels to help us fulfill the roles that they need help with.
Yeah, there's just that personal touch that I think we provide. We generally want to be partners with folks. Like we rely on them, they rely on us, and we want everything to work smoothly. Our goals are not designed just for us to be financially, in a good spot. They're to make your life easier by hiring great folks that you see with yourself for the long term. And that is the goal in mind. We want to get great folks jobs. We want to help our clients. And yeah, there's a benefit to us, but we're playing matchmaker here, but we're doing it with the hopes that it's not just a quick solution and then you're going to be hiring that role again in 3 months. We want to make sure that these are the right people for the right job.
We're not exactly a churn and burn type of organization. We're really looking to be a long-term talent partner for our clients. We're all about the relationship. If we burn you on one bad role, one bad candidate, that's on us. You're not going to want to come back and work with us again. Why go for the one when we can go for the all?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we want the first thing when you feel you need outsourced help for hiring, we want Hirewell to be that person. We want to leave you with a great experience, not only for you, but for the candidates that hopefully we've placed with you. We want them to be our biggest advocates. And we take that to heart every single day and every time we have a conversation.
Glad you mentioned the word outsourced. I think the other biggest obstacle we see on a common basis is the stigma of outside recruitment help, especially companies that have their own internal recruitment team. We are not putting internal recruiters out of jobs. If anything, we actually hire internal recruiters for companies. What do we do to combat that concept?
Yeah, I mean, the outsourced help, ultimately, ideally, you'd probably want to do it inside, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication. So trusting a partner, a long-term talent partner like Hirewell, it's always a go-to. So we've been able to help companies in various stages with various projects, and there's not much we haven't seen. So it's really a one-stop shop for all of your hiring needs.
The biggest thing is we aim to be a complement to your existing structure, not a substitute. Whether it be very niche senior level roles that your team doesn't have enough bandwidth for because they've got a number of things on their plate, we come in and help with those. Whether it be that you don't have an internal recruiter system or you have an internal team, but you have a spike in your needs that, again, they don't have the time for. We have an on-demand solution that we come in for a short period of time and help ease into that so that you have the amount of volume need from a recruiting standpoint without having to pay full-time salary, benefits, looking long-term on that end. You mentioned tailoring. What can we offer our clients, Louie?
A customized recruiting solution, whether it is bringing on a full-time recruiter solely dedicated to your company and basically acts as a recruiter for you, we can do that. If you're looking more on the contingent side where, you're looking for a very specialized role that maybe your internal team hasn't tackled and you want to kind of reach for a specialist, we can do that. Do long engagements, short engagements, and when it comes to the fees, like we can be creative if you're upfront and committing to it. Ideally, our clients want to work with us, they want to hire, and we do everything in our power to provide you options so you don't have to do all the grunt work of sourcing and all that. So you're going to get a partner that carries the mail. It's a hockey term that I like to use. Someone that carries the puck. The other people just look good around them. So we will do that for you.
There you go. Flexible, tailored solutions. We aim to be a one-stop talent shop. You mentioned sourcing, you mentioned recruiting. We also look at it from a consultative advisory approach. You need help with your recruitment process to begin with. If you're a smaller company looking to grow exponentially and you don't know where to start, we do that too. whether it be from creating interview guides, training your hiring managers, helping you strategize what the best fits for your company are, and then in the short term and long term. We do it all. When we say we're a talent partner, we're looking for a relationship long term here. We really do mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, we hire well, and we can teach you how to do the same.
Absolutely. We do provide a consistent support, as I know we mentioned, the dedicated account manager, the same face to a name, same person you're consistently communicating with. And I feel like I'm a broken record talking about communication is key and all these different things, but it really is.
I mean, communication goes so far in business in general, specifically to recruiting. Giving timely feedback, talking to us about what you're seeing and what you don't like in some candidates that we've sent. All of it helps us do our job better on your behalf and saves everyone time in the long run. So communication is key, and having that back and forth, that open dialogue, especially around the goal line, it's crucial.
All right, Louie, 2-minute drill, take us home. In part one, we said, what's your best push strategy for the candidate offer side? What's your best fourth and short strategy getting you over to a new client?
I think it's kind of what I said at the start. It's a value-based sell. When you're trying to bring on a new client, find their pain points, understand what keeps them up at night when it comes to recruiting, obviously, and fill that hole. If they're struggling to find quantity in candidates because they don't have bandwidth, we can do that and talk to that. So value, create it, show it, and ultimately close on it.
For me, it's all about the relationships. From the get-go, when we meet with potential clients, we always say, well, we're looking to see if this makes sense for you. It makes sense for us. It's a partnership. If it doesn't, we're not going to try and force anything. But if we feel that it does, maybe not now, maybe immediately, but maybe down the road as well, we set ourselves up to do so, and providing that, hopefully level of trust and build that relationship. Really, a strong partnership is what's going to get us over the goal line.
1,000%. I mean, ultimately, there's so many conversations we have where folks maybe aren't needing of our services now, and that's okay. We don't want to, force the hand of anyone. We want to work with folks who genuinely need our help and understand what we can provide them, and we just want to work with you. Quite frankly,
couldn't have said it better myself. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to the first Hirewell Hot Corner 2-part episode, as well as our first fully in-person Hirewell Hot Corner. Follow us along for our next episode in a few weeks. And as always, stay classy, LinkedIn.